mastering the architecture of influence, offense and defense. Welcome to this explainer. I recently started looking into this absolutely fascinating module focused entirely on human behavior. And honestly, the deeper I get, the more it completely changes how I view everyday interactions. Influence isn't just a one-way street, right? It's this complex, deeply ingrained system that every single one of us participates in. So today, we're going to explore the details of this topic, looking closely at the dual nature of the system, basically what we can call the offense and the defense of persuasion. It's all about figuring out exactly how behavior is shaped and molded, both by us and by the world around us. Let's get right into it. So, are your beliefs truly your own, or have you been persuaded? Wow, it's a pretty heavy question when you really stop to think about it. We all just kind of walk around assuming the thoughts in our heads and the actions we take are entirely self-generated. But here's a wild thought for you. Cognitive scientists actually estimate that we make around 35,000 remotely conscious decisions every single day. 35,000! And as the source material points out, a massive chunk of that behavior is highly susceptible to external framing before we even consciously register it. If we don't understand the psychological mechanisms quietly guiding all those daily micro-decisions, well, we're essentially flying blind. Understanding human behavior literally determines who is actually sitting in the driver's seat of our own minds. And that brings us to the core definition. The art of persuasion is defined here as convincing someone to change their beliefs or do something you suggest. Notice those two distinct parts there. First up, changing beliefs. Now, that's an internal shift. Think about reading an article that entirely flips your perspective on, say, whether remote work is actually productive. You know what I mean? Then, second, doing something you suggest. That's an external action. It's that subtle little nudge that gets you to click a specific subscribe button, or maybe buy a brand of coffee you definitely weren't planning to. This module treats persuasion as a proactive power. It's the actual, tangible ability to deliberately alter what people think and what they do. Okay, so how do people actually wield this power? Well, that brings us to what we can call the offense, specifically applied to content writing. Every article you read, every single newsletter you open, it's built with intent. Mastering persuasion in this medium means strategically applying psychology to get a desired result. Instead of just throwing words on a page, a savvy writer might frame a headline as a provocative question to trigger a curiosity gap, or they might use emotionally resonant language right there in the opening paragraph to build instant trust. It's about architecting the flow of information to guide the reader's psychology and basically convince them to adopt a very specific viewpoint. Here are the core module takeaways. We're looking to understand human behavior, learn the art of persuasion, convince others to change beliefs, suggest actions successfully, and finally, apply these techniques in content writing. Basically, these practical takeaways build a very specific, proactive, offensive toolkit. It all starts with mapping the terrain of mind, understanding human behavior at a baseline level. Once you get that, you can craft a solid strategy using the art of persuasion to shift those internal beliefs and drive physical actions. And then, you use content writing as your primary delivery vehicle to execute the whole shebang. When you synthesize these elements, you aren't just communicating anymore. You become the literal architect of the interaction. But there is a whole other side to this equation, right? Influencing others through content writing versus the awareness of others to recognize manipulation, this reveals the fascinating two-sided coin of persuasion. It's not just about what you can do to others. It's absolutely crucial to realize what others are constantly trying to do to you. If persuasion is a tool, you better believe it's being wielded by everyone. Every single time you unlock your phone, someone else's offense is running against you. The exact same techniques used to influence an audience are actively being used to shape your behavior. Recognizing this duality is a massive critical pivot in the source material. Which brings us to the defense, safeguarding your behaviors. Because understanding the art of persuasion isn't just about going on the offensive. It operates a lot like learning how a magic trick works. You know the deal. Once you know the sleight of hand, the magician can't fool you anymore. By learning how to convince someone to change their beliefs, you simultaneously unlock this incredible psychological firewall. This defensive superpower is just as critical as the offensive skills. It's the only way to ensure that the actions you take and the beliefs you hold actually remain genuinely your own. In fact, the source material captures this perfectly, noting that this knowledge will, quote, make you more aware of the techniques others might use to try and change your beliefs and behaviors. And honestly, that awareness is everything. It pulls back the curtain. Now, when you read a persuasive piece of writing, you won't just passively absorb it. No way. You'll spot the mechanics behind it. You'll instantly notice when someone uses a false dichotomy to force you into a choice, or, when they manufacture fake urgency with a countdown timer just to bypass your logical thinking. You transform from a passive consumer into an active, critical evaluator. You're actively protecting your own beliefs from those unseen external forces. So, mapping out the cycle of influence, we have 3 steps. 1. Understand human behavior. 2. Apply persuasion in writing. And 3. Spot external manipulation. It essentially forms a continuous loop. Decoding human behavior fuels your ability to write persuasively and proactively influence the world. But engaging in that process inherently sharpens your defenses, allowing you to instantly spot when those exact same tactical maneuvers are used on you. Mastering the architecture of influence really means mastering both the offense and the defense of daily human interaction. It's this endless, fascinating loop of proactive communication and reactive safeguarding. So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. Who is using the architecture of influence on you right now? Seriously, think about the open browser tabs on your computer at this exact moment. Think about the articles you read this morning, the beliefs you hold, and the actions you've recently taken. As you go about the rest of your day, I challenge you to critically evaluate the persuasive forces all around you. Are they using the art of persuasion to subtly change your beliefs? Are they trying to get you to do something they suggest? Well, the good news is you now have the lens to see it and the awareness to recognize the techniques. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.